I think the metal wires in my teeth are giving off electricity.
You think? You think the
Maybe
metal wires?
I shouldn't be. I guess I shouldn't be too close to the mic.
I don't think that's how wires in your mouth work.
Ow! Put a little electricity sound in there. We got a tight production here.
Are you telling
Alright,
me
let's
to
get-
add an electricity sound? I don't do any editing.
Oh.
So, Winston,
So, Kane.
let's talk about trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
I have a list of some good trilogies here, and I think a good one to start with is a classic we all know and love, and that is Star Wars.
Before you get into it,
Go on.
I was thinking we start with different types of trilogies, starting with most popular movies,
Yeah.
and then get into other things like music trilogies, book trilogies, game trilogies.
Yeah, I have some for books, some for games.
Some of these are going to be shorter than others, but that's fine.
It's true.
Now, what did you say was the most famous trilogy? Star Trek?
Close. Star Wars, actually. Have you heard of Star Wars?
Oh! Speaking of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey.
Isn't that the guy with the soup?
Yes. Soup Skywalker.
So Star Wars, man, that's a good trilogy, isn't it?
Mhm.
You know, it's just a really solid... I think it's... We're talking about the original trilogy, by the way, which is the prequels. Yeah, but Star Wars, the first three movies...
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Lego Star Wars games
No, there's 6 of those.
for DS.
That's the only true version of Star Wars, is the Lego Star Wars game for the DS, and everyone knows this. But Star Wars, the original trilogy, I think is the blueprint of what a trilogy is and what people have tried to build off since then. It's where, like, the first one establishes everything, the second one is, like, you build off that, and then you end on a cliffhanger, and then the third one, you just resolve it all. And that's basically what every trilogy tries to do after that.
Yep. The story was influenced by, as you mentioned, Kane, Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey.
Yeah.
It's that 3-act structure. You introduce Star Wars. It's a big, fun adventure. Everyone loves it. Next one, it's the lowest point. Everyone is so shocked by this huge cliffhanger. And, I just want our heroes to win, but they lost. It's the dark chapter.
Yeah.
Third one, you bring in some talking bears and you finish. Everyone thinks it's okay.
You bring in some talking bears, and that's pretty much all you need to make a good trilogy. How do you feel about the other Star Wars trilogies?
Oh, yeah.
As in the prequels and the sequels?
Well, let's get the condensed version. The original are great. They're fun movies.
Yeah.
The prequel trilogy, I don't really know what happens in them. And the sequels are...
They are.
What are they?
I don't really know.
The sequels are The Force Awakens, and that's it.
My Star Wars hot take is still that every Star Wars movie is about the exact same in quality.
That's dumb.
And Solo's still my favorite.
That's okay.
But they're all the same movie. They're all just dumb space fun. I don't understand why some people are like, the first ones are classics, they're greater than anything that's ever been made, and then they're like, the new ones suck. But they're the exact same thing. They're the same movies.
You want to know the little dirty secret about Star Wars?
What?
It's very limited.
Yeah.
They peaked with Empire because of that twist, and it's
Yeah.
all been downhill since. It's either you go really different and weird and make it about politics, and you get a prequel trilogy, or you go so similar that you can't even tell the difference. You get the sequels.
I think they peaked and at the beginning of the first movie, where Luke Skywalker looks up and there's 2 suns, and you're like, wow, 2 suns. And then everything since then is downhill.
I thought you were going to say they peaked at the beginning of Phantom Menace.
The opening of Phantom Menace. How does Phantom Menace open?
Oh, it's great. Okay, get this.
Alright.
These 2 guys in robes walk into a room, and they sit down at a table, and then they have tea, and you're just like, it just gets you going. And then gas comes in, and they say, that looks dangerous.
Isn't that when they use super speed and then they never use that again?
It's also when they hold their breath, even though later on in the movie we see them pull out underwater breathing things.
Underwater masks, and they swim to the underwater city. It's also the Phantom Menace is just A New Hope again. It's the same thing. It's A New Hope, A Phantom Menace, and The Force Awakens are all the exact same movie. I don't understand how they keep getting away with it.
I can see where you're coming from. I don't agree with your politics, but luckily for me, I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really...
I got interested in Star Wars when Force Awakens came out. I thought it was really fun. We saw The Last Jedi together. You saw my reaction. I was so conflicted. I was like, I'm just not. I just wasn't interested anymore. Yeah,
you were like, I just don't want to see anymore.
Yeah, just one movie later, it was it's all gone. Anyways, Star Wars keeps making trilogies.
Yeah.
I hope they keep making them forever and ever.
Me too.
The next trilogy will be about Rey's daughter learning to become a Jedi, while a guy in a black cloak has a super weapon.
Ooh.
And then a little robot walks around.
That sounds pretty intriguing. I'm interested.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
You know what I don't get about Star Wars? The fact that so many Star Wars fans
are we just gonna talk about Star Wars all day, Kane?
Yes. I don't understand why so many Star Wars fans are like, how dare they just erase all the old...
It's called Kane Cast, not Cantina Cast.
It is called Cantina Cast.
That's a deep cut.
Is it? People know what a cantina is.
Do they know this? Play the cantina.
Nice.
Okay, what were you gonna say about old canon?
What was I saying? Oh, people get so pissed that like the old canon isn't canon anymore. First of all, it's a fictional thing. Anything can be canon. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. None of it happened. None of it's real. None of it's canon. It's all just fake stories.
It's not real.
You can believe whatever part you want to believe.
Rogue One is not a historical movie. It's a war movie, but it's not history.
No, it's fine. Ugh.
Well, the thing about the old canon for Star Wars is that, remember when the first 3 movies came out, for like 20 years, all people had were the books?
Yeah.
And there was just years and years and years of terrible, terrible, terrible lore that was built off it.
They're all bad. They're all bad. There's nothing good in any of the Star Wars that isn't the movies.
I had this, that was a good transition. So Marvel movies, they like to do trilogies sometimes.
Yeah.
Originally, Avengers was a trilogy. Pretty much all superhero movies for the longest time were, okay, you make the first, the second, and the third. For a decade, the first was good, the second was the best. Third, the director got fired and someone else came in and it was terrible. I didn't write them down, but I could name them all. You got Blade. What else is there?
X-Men?
X-Men.
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. Oh, Jinx, you owe me a Spider-Man.
Here's the thing about Spider-Man. I hate Spider-Man 2. I don't like Spider-Man 2 at all.
Oh, that's a high five.
Are you high-fiving me? Up top.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't actually hate Spider-Man 2, but I don't think it's as good as everyone says it is. I think Spider-Man 1 is the best out of the Spider-Man trilogy, and then I think 2 and 3 are about the same. I think they're all about equal. None of them are that great. If we're being honest, they're all pretty camp and pretty lame, but they're fun, and I love them. They're good kids movies, but they're not like these like epic, like huge, the greatest superhero movies that have ever been made. They're not that good. They're really not.
Now, back to Marvel, though. What's interesting about their trilogies with Iron Man, Mr. America, and Thor, the guy of electricity.
I like how you didn't change Thor's name. It was just Thor.
They have their own trilogies, and Iron Man, the first Iron Man, made Iron Man popular.
Sure did.
The second Captain America made Cap popular, and the third Thor made Thor popular.
Yeah.
So it's almost like their own good trilogy. It's like the trilogy of cool when they got cool.
It's a trilogy within a trilogy. If you watch just Iron Man 1, Captain America 2, then Thor 3, you'll be very confused, but you'll like all the movies.
You'll like them. Don't mess that up and do Thor 1, Iron Man 2, and then Ant-Man. You'll be very confused.
Who do you think?
Let me do that again.
All right.
Don't mess that up and do Thor 1, Iron Man 2, and then the Iron Fist Netflix series.
No, you should watch the Iron Fist Netflix series. It's the greatest television show ever committed to screen.
Let's do that. Let's do an episode of that sometime.
Let's do that. Do you remember the part where the guy digs out the guy's eye with an ice cream scoop?
I don't remember that. Anyways, Kane, what are some other famous trilogies?
Well,
don't say Lord of the Rings.
I wasn't going to say Lord of the Rings because I've only seen the third one.
Why not?
Because I've only seen the third one. I mean, yeah, it's a famous trilogy and it's really good and great.
We should do a disclaimer right now. Kane and I have not seen Lord of the Rings.
Disclaimer, I've seen half of the third movie. And I've read the first 2 books. So I feel like I'm the world's biggest expert on Lord of the Rings, if I'm being honest. But sticking on the superhero theme, a really good trilogy is the Dark Knight trilogy.
You saying sticky because
Batman sticks to walls.
Oh, we had the same joke.
Do you remember the part of Batman v Superman where there's criminals looking around? They're like, "Where is this guy? Where's Batman?" And then he's just like crouched in the corner in the ceiling. Look, oh, there he is.
I thought you were gonna say, remember that time Batman had that gooey gun where he shot bombs that stuck to walls?
Is that a thing he did?
He had it in Dark Knight. He went to China and then he shot a building with glue bombs, and then he got picked up by a plane with his parachute.
That's the weirdest part of that movie. When he just goes to China and kidnaps a guy.
Yeah, it's so elaborate.
It's so weird.
But anyways, yes.
How do you feel about the Dark Knight trilogy overall, Winston?
When I picture them, I just picture like a color. With Batman Begins, I just picture brown. Yeah. Dark Knight, I picture blue. And then Dark Knight Rises, I picture bad.
I don't even... See, you hate Dark Knight Rises. I don't... I think it's fine. I think it's about fine. You know?
I really haven't seen them in a while. Like, my opinions on movies have changed.
Yeah.
But when Dark Knight Rises came out, all I could talk about was the plot holes.
What's the biggest plot hole? Is it why do you light the bridge on fire?
No, why did he talk in that stupid voice even though Catwoman knows who he is? I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I'd like it.
I don't think you would, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's a fine movie.
Well, that's good.
I think it does kind of let down the trilogy as a whole. Where like Batman Begins is a really good like introduction to Batman, and then The Dark Knight is like one of my favorite movies ever. And The Dark Knight Rises is like, it's just okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What movies need to do with trilogies? No. What they can do, carry over things, and I'd say Dark Knight essentially carries the least amount over.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight Rises, why do they have such similar titles? It's so stupid.
They just added one word.
Dark Knight Rises like brings back characters and storylines from the first one.
Yeah. Like, Dark Knight Rises is more of a sequel than Dark Knight is.
Got any more movie trilogies?
I have a couple more. How about, you ever heard of Back to the Future?
I love those.
So, you know, the weird thing about Back to the Future is I think it works better as just 1 and 2. And then 3 is just kind of like it's this weird little side story that like they like go to the Wild West. Because 1 is just a great movie, and then 2 is like looking at 1 from a different perspective, and then 3 is like, let's go to the Wild West. That'd be fun.
I agree. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. I was thinking, why is there a Western Back to the Future? It's pointless.
Yeah.
But then I thought, most trilogies, they're just they repeat the same thing over and over. I was like, well, Back to the Future didn't. Instead, they're like, let's send them to the Wild West. You know how we talk about sometimes where it's like, if they make a new Terminator or something, send them to the Wild West.
Yeah.
Put them in caveman times or something. That's what they did with Back to the Future. They said, okay, it's kind of just a random little side story, but what if we had these characters and their reliance on technology, put them in a time with no technology?
Yeah.
I was like, huh. Now I like it more.
That's true. Yeah. Wait. In the third movie, don't they have the future car that runs on garbage?
That's 2.
Yeah, but isn't it the same car in the third one?
It got blowed up.
When did it get blowed up?
Remember the cowboys and natives threw arrows into it? It didn't get blowed up, but... Oh, that's at the end. It did get... The thing that could process the food got damaged.
Oh, okay. That's why they needed the train?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
That scene is so long when they're pushing it on the train.
Oh my god. That's half the movie.
It's like riding a real train. Oh my god, this is taking forever.
Nah, trains rule. Get out of here with your train hate. Trains are the best.
By the time we get off this train, it will be 1985.
I love riding the train.
Me too.
It's a great time. You ever sit backwards and then it feels like you're like going way faster?
What, like sit on your stomach?
Yeah, sit on your stomach. Don't lie down, sit on your stomach.
Kane, what's your next movie trilogy?
Well, here, I had them written down. Oh, you ever heard of a good old friend, the man with the whip and the hat, Indiana Jones himself?
No. Wait, yes!
Well, he's this guy, alright, he's an archaeologist. And he likes to... What is his job? He's a professor, right?
He's a university professor.
Well, why does he get to just go to the jungle and steal golden things?
Because he's great.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Here's the thing about Indiana Jones. In case you didn't notice, it's not realistic.
No, it's not.
Indiana Jones should not be able to walk, but he can go on adventures whenever he wants and collect treasures and never die.
Yeah.
It's not like a realistic adventure story. It's more of a concept. You want to be Indiana Jones. You want to follow this cool guy around and see his cool adventures.
It's very true.
Sorry, Indiana Jones is just he is the hat and the whip.
It's true. Do you remember the end of the fourth one where he passes it on to Shia LaBeouf?
Fourth one? That's not a trilogy.
Things can be
canceled. It's
even if
out.
There's more.
It's out.
Alright.
That's one strike, Kane.
Uh-oh. We're gonna come to some more strikes later on.
Oh shit, I all I got is a list of 4 movie series.
I thought trilogy meant 5 things. Do you have any other movie trilogies you want to talk about?
No, I was expecting you to have them. I have more other things.
I think I've gone through
Kane,
most of the
I
movie
don't.
ones.
Kane, why would I have a movie trilogies? I don't watch movies.
Well, what do you
That's
watch?
the end of that
Winston?
thought. What do I watch? Do you have any more?
No, not any movies.
Okay, Kane, I don't watch movies. I read books. Do you want to hear some of my favorite book trilogies?
You bet I do.
Hunger Games.
That's a good one. That's a good trilogy right there.
Started with The Hunger Games, and then Catching Fire, and then Mockingjay. We got the Divergent series.
I was gonna say, I feel like Hunger Games catches a lot of flack now because it spawned books like the Divergent series and other, like the Maze Runner and stuff, where it's just like, ooh, dystopian future about teenagers. Except the Hunger Games is really good. Like, it's really solid. The other ones have, like, interesting ideas, and, like, some of it is good, but the Hunger Games, the whole thing is, like, it's a consistently really good story.
It's a fleshed out world with a
Yeah.
good concept. Good themes. It's not original, but it's executed well. And that's essentially the point. You can say that The Hunger Games is a ripoff of like Battle Royale or whatever the hell you want. As long as it's executed well, that's fine.
Then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
We got Divergent. Divergent feels like a Hunger Games ripoff because it's just dystopian, people living in cities, and they're separated by their emotion or something.
Yeah,
I have
weird.
no idea what Divergent is.
Man, see, I read the Divergent books.
The
and
Divergent.
What?
No, go on.
And they're okay. Like, they're not terrible. They're not great, you know? And then the movies are just the worst things I've ever seen. They're so bad.
They didn't even finish the series. They were so bad.
Yeah, they only got 2 in. We're like, no one wants to see the 3rd one.
Another series that is another really cool idea is Maze Runner.
Yeah, Maze Runner is pretty good. Well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Maze Runner. I feel like, because I read all 3 of them, I think it's an interesting idea, and then I think it almost becomes a really interesting idea, and then it doesn't, which is upsetting to me. Because the main character you're following the whole time, there's a point during the 2nd or 3rd book where it looks like it's about to become like, oh, he isn't important at all? Like, he was supposed to die the whole time, and the other person is the important one. And then it's like, no, actually, he was important the whole time. I was like, no, it would have been so cool if the main character wasn't important. He was just supposed to die. He was just supposed to be a pawn. But then he ends up actually being the one that saves the world. But that they don't do that.
What about the big plot twist?
Which one?
Did you finish the series?
Yeah.
Isn't it revealed that the main character was essentially the creator of...
Yeah. Yeah. Not just him specific. It was him and like a group of other people. He helped create it.
Cool.
Also, the first big plot twist is that it's just zombies. That's just it's like, oh, there's zombies. Uh-oh.
Oh, I hate those. Get them out of here. Next, we got the Twilight Trilogy, which has Twilight, and then it's got Breaking Dawn, and then New Moon, and then... Oh, shit, there's 4!
Oh, wait a minute. 2 strikes.
Oh, damn it. I can't talk about Twilight then. That's like another half hour gone.
I've not read any of the Twilight books.
What you have read are the Lord of the Rings.
I read the first 2.
we got the books, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
We got the Twin Towers.
Wait a minute.
What?
I believe it's
can
Towers.
I'm trying to read the titles. Can I interrupt?
Carry on.
And then we have the final one, The Return of 9/11. Now, what's famous about these books... Do you have something to say?
No, you got it. Carry on.
What we didn't mention with the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy is that this is one of those properties that was considered unfilmable.
Yeah. And
then the guy came in and said, hey, can I film them all back to back in New Zealand in the mountains for $1 billion trillion? And they said, yeah, sure.
And they're like, only if the movies make $1 billion trillion. And he was like, deal. And then it did.
I can do that. It did so well that we didn't see them.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings. I like the world, I like the ideas, but the books themselves are kind of boring. The second one is really boring. Cause the second one, it splits up the Fellowship, and Frodo and Sam go with Gollum, and that part's really interesting. That's a cool story. But then the rest of the crew is just like hanging out with trees and Gandalf, and it's so boring. And nothing happens. And there's this like big action scene where the trees come to life and fight people, and it's the most boring thing that you've ever read.
That's cool. Books are boring though.
Does that mean you're out of books?
I'm out of books. I don't want to read. I want to be able to listen. So that's why I listen to music.
Ooh.
But only music trilogies.
Do you have some music trilogies?
I got a couple. Do you want me to start off with, I think, one that we all love? Big famous trilogy that we all love?
Yeah.
Eminem. With Relapse, Recovery, and then, of course, the crown jewel, Revival.
I haven't heard any of those. I'm not an Eminem fan.
I think you're fine. Those are essentially his most hated albums.
Ah.
Revival was the one where he's thinking about if he should crack a coffee pot on Donald Trump. Probably not.
You mean the greatest song that's ever been recorded?
Yeah. And well, I mean, no one really cares, but these albums are about him getting over his drug abuse and trying to get better.
Yeah.
Who cares? The last song on Revival is told from the perspective of him on his deathbed, like talking to his family. But
Interesting.
he's still, the way I heard it described is he's still spitting bars as if there's a whole group of guys in the hospital room waiting, just going, oh!
Well, there will be when he dies.
Yep. And then it ends with him dumping his meds in a toilet, which ends the album on a very fitting toilet flush sound.
Wait,
Now,
what's the Eminem song where it just opens with like 20 seconds of the sound of someone puking?
I don't know.
That's one of the only songs I've heard.
That's
not
me
very
when I listen to Revival.
Oh, got him.
Lyrical, spiritual, miracle, individual. I'm in your peripheral and in your swimming pool. Here's a good trilogy.
Oh.
The Brockhampton Saturation Trilogy.
Hey.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Kane, play every Brockhampton song at once. Go! It's a great trilogy. They just made them back to back to back. Brockhampton, America's greatest boy band.
Is it America's favorite boy band?
Greatest. America hates them.
Oh.
Do you have a personal favorite of the three?
Of the trilogies? I think
Mhm.
two. Two is probably my favorite.
You can't pick two.
Why? Because it's the best one?
Because I was going to pick two.
I think it's 2 or 3. I like 3 a lot too.
I would say the end of 2 and the beginning of 3 is just peak music for me.
Yeah.
Summer and Boogie.
Just back to back is just ooh, chef's kiss.
It's great. Chef's kiss. Chef boy.
What's the equivalent of a chef for music? Producer's kiss.
The chef's kiss. The music equivalent of a chef's kiss is...
This is a certified hood classic.
I put it in.
Alright.
I don't have too many music trilogies, but I got Kanye's Education Trilogy, which you can learn more about from our award-winning Kanye West episode. Then we got the Beatles with Rubber Street, Revolver, and Sgt. Pepper.
Interesting. Is that a trilogy? Could be.
David Bowie. Oh, shit. David Bowie made the Berlin Trilogy, which is 3 albums that he recorded all in Berlin. And I didn't write down the names, so take my word for it.
Alright, I believe you.
I think one of Jay-Z's most popular albums is called The Blueprint.
Yeah.
And then he comes back every once in a while and makes a new one. So he's got a trilogy of them. And from what I know, they're descending quality.
Oh, that's not good.
No, see, I don't know too much about those albums. I don't think they're the ones that he keeps collaborating with Linkin Park.
Oh, yeah.
He likes to do that.
I mean, who doesn't? It's Linkin Park.
Yeah. Did you grow up with Linkin Park as well? No.
Yeah, I fucking love Linkin Park. Definitely the highlight of my grade 7 and 8 years. Just listening to Linkin Park.
Exactly. They're probably the first band I got into.
Yeah.
They make you feel what you didn't think you were feeling before.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Transformers trilogy.
There's like 5 of them, Kane.
Yeah, but the first 3 all
That's
have
your
Shia
third
LaBeouf.
strike. You're out of here.
There's the Shia LaBeouf trilogy and then the Mark Wahlberg 2 movies. They're separated into 2 specific eras of Transformers movies.
No, Shia LaBeouf is in the 5th one. There's a picture of him.
That doesn't count.
Well, Megan Fox is in those, and she's essentially just a cardboard cutout. Kane, stop playing games with me. More specifically, game trilogies.
Nice. That was a smooth transition.
It's like a smooth criminal. It's like in music. Oh shit! I went back.
Oh, damn it. Now we have to talk about music again.
I think there might be more game trilogies than anything else in the world.
I don't know.
Because they can just release a game and then color it differently and make 2. And then make new graphics and then make it 3.
The thing about video game trilogies is a lot of them aren't actually trilogies, they're just 3 games, you know?
Mhm.
Some of them are like specifically set up to be trilogies. Which one I'd like to talk about is Halo, which I think the first 3 Halo games is the perfect franchise of a video
Luckily,
game.
you already got 3 strikes, so you're allowed to talk about whatever you want now.
Because there is a Halo 4, but Halo 4 is its own story. It's a new trilogy. But yeah, the first 3 Halo games it's essentially Star Wars, where the first one is like you introduce this new world and this new interesting thing, and it's crazy good. It's an amazing game. And then the second one is like you just build off everything you establish in the first one, and then you do a cliffhanger ending. Except different to Star Wars, people didn't like Halo 2, but then Halo 3 is like you wrap it all up, and you beat the bad guy, and it's great. And people love Halo 3, and Halo 3 is an amazing game.
I remember I never owned an Xbox as a kid, but I would go over to my friends and we would play Halo 2 co-op.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's great because as long as one person's good, you can finish the game. And I was terrible.
It's very true.
So it was good. Multiplayer, not so good.
Multiplayer in Halo is great.
Not for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, not for me either, because I'm not very good, but I mean, it's fun.
Did 3 introduce the big gravity hammer?
I think that was 2. Because 2...
I like that.
Because 1, it had all the aliens, and then you had elites as like the main alien bad guys. And then 2, the story mode of 2 is you play half the game as Master Chief, half the game as an elite.
Halo Chief?
Halo Chief, yeah.
Because the game's Halo. His name's Halo.
Yeah, his name is Halo. He's the Master Halo Chief.
Go on.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. And then Halo 2 introduced brutes, which are like the big guys, and they're the ones that have the hammers. And I think...
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure that they have the hammer in Halo 2. Yeah.
Nice. The games that I grew up with as a kid were mostly trilogies. Like, I really like platformer games. I'm not too big on like shooters and puzzles and stuff. I just like being able to control a guy and run around and do things.
Yeah.
So I grew up with Ratchet and Clank was a trilogy.
Yeah.
That's the trilogy. That's the games where you get a big giant weapons that blow stuff up. You fly around in space. It's good.
Oh,
And then Jack and Daxter. Jack and Daxter is like the fantasy version of that. Jack and Daxter is like the exact opposite of that. It's fantasy and there's no weapons.
Jack and Daxter's weird, man. The first game, Jack and Daxter, I love. Great game. Jack 2 is such a weird left turn, and it's like, now it's really hardcore, and you can turn to this crazy Super Saiyan silver-haired guy, and there's tanks, and there's guns, and there's flying, and you can hijack cars. It's still a pretty fun game.
Yeah, and there's swearing.
Yeah!
You know what? It's so edgy because in Jack 2, when he falls down, he'll say, "Damn."
Whoa!
That's because they wanted Grand Theft Auto. The Grand Theft Auto was huge.
Yeah.
And they're like, do Grand Theft Auto, and they said, oh, we'll do Grand Theft Auto.
You want Grand Theft Auto? We'll give you Grand Theft Auto.
So the first one was a cool fantasy adventure. Second was Grand Theft Auto, and then the third was Grand Theft Auto with more stuff. But the third is actually good.
When does the kart racer come in?
Uncarded? The third trilogy I played was Sly and Cooper. I had the joke ready. I almost forgot it. Which is, instead of a big action game with explosions, instead of a big exploration fantasy game, it was a stealth game where you steal stuff.
Yeah.
And the first one's trash. Second one is very, very well done.
Yeah.
Like, all the enemies have, like, unique patterns of movement and how they can detect you. And how you, like, some enemies are really big, so you can't fight them off. Some are really tiny, but they call big people to come get you.
Yeah.
There's different ways of moving around the map. It's great. I'd say all three of these trilogies are great. If someone isn't like into games that much, those are the ones I would recommend to people.
Nice. Well, speaking of old PlayStation platformer trilogies, how about we talk about our favorite orange marsupial,
Yes,
Crash
Bubsy!
Bandicoot?
Oh,
How many Bubsy games has there been?
too many. So, Kane, talk about Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Again.
Crash Bandicoot, great games. The first three, there's a reason why they remade the first three and are now making a fourth one and ignoring every game after it. It's because the first three are great. and it does the thing a trilogy should, where like the first one is just a fun game, and then the second one just... But they did it, instead of like a story way, they added just new game mechanics, where they're like... The first one is just running... And you get a bazooka at the end, and you can run, and it's great.
Wow.
Wow.
I'd say that it does what all trilogies does, where the second one's the best one.
Yeah.
There's too many water levels in the third one.
I say there's not enough water levels in the third one. I want Crash underwater, all water levels.
That's what Crash 4 is called. Crash 4, it's about water. Crash 4, oops, all water.
Oops, all water.
That's probably my favorite tagline now for something is oops, all blank.
Oops, all blank.
Because it's fun to make like sequel subtitles like Electric Boogaloo or
The Squeakquel.
The Squeakquel. But oops, all blank is very specific.
Yeah. But
It's like if you called Thor 3, Thor, oops, all improv.
They should have called it that.
So what were you going to say?
What was I going to say? We can't talk about Crash. We can't talk about Crash without talking about his lizard friend.
Gex!
Exactly! I only ever played Gex 1. That was a fun game. Wait, no, Gex 2. Which one's 3D? I think Gex 2.
Here's one of my favorite Gex lines.
Now that's what I call getting some tail.
That's a good one.
And this.
That's for 12 years of Full House.
Oh, that's a good one.
So who's Spyro? What's so big about him?
Speaking of lizards, there's a dragon named Spyro. And the first 3 Spyro games, exactly like Crash, where they build off and they just add new game mechanics in each game, and you can jump, and I think Spyro is a great trilogy because you could pick any game and say it's the best of the 3, and you'd be right. Because like you can...
I'd say it's the most consistent.
Yeah. Like you can like the first one because it's a lot more like stripped back, but it's still really fun, and you just have like, you have fire, you have charge, you have glide. And then in 2 they add a bunch of other stuff, like you can like head bash, and you can like hover and do stuff, and 2's got like a cool villain, and then 3 just like is huge, and it's got these multiple side quests and crazy stuff and lots of hidden secrets.
It gives you a skateboard.
And you get to skateboard. And you can turn the skateboard into a squid if you put the cheat code in.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
Yeah. Do you have any other video game trilogies you want to talk about, Winston?
I just bought Kingdom Hearts 3.
Ooh.
Let's not get into it.